Peace, bliss, and embrace. What's going on, everyone? This is Jennifer of Embracing Her Now. I hope that you're having a lovely weekend. So I wanted to come on here quickly because we know that we're about now faith and taking action and not delaying. And so I was actually going to go live on YouTube. Excuse my child, because again, we are not in a season of delay. So you're going to hear my son out in the family room playing the video game, and that's okay, because I hope that you still get the message that I am here to share about the current situation or circumstances surrounding Jamie Foxx and what we can learn from that as women who's choosing to embracing her now, right? And it's going to be quite simple when I get to it, but I'm not going to be here long. I'm literally going to give you the message and I'm going to bounce. So we all know that recently Jamie Foxx has been called out for anti-Semitic statements, right? So he made this commentary and it said, I'm going to read it. It says, if they killed Jesus, what do you think they'll do to you? Right? And so everyone's in this uproar about his statement and calling him anti-Semitic, which I found to be very interesting. And I'm really going to share with you why. But I have a friend, because when I heard this, my first response was, well, didn't the Roman Empire invade the land, and then they were the ones who were responsible for the death of Jesus, right? So I said, okay, I need to go and do some research. So I have a friend, and whenever I have a question, she always says, Jennifer, you have to read your Bible, right? So I picked up my Bible, and this message, it doesn't matter to me what your particular religion is, right? I believe that there's one supreme being, high supreme being power, i.e. God. So whatever you believe in, hey, that's not what this message is about. So I went and I read the story about the crucifixion of Jesus. And that story is in John 19. So I'm reading the story, and it's telling you about how Pilate was not in agreement with the Jews regarding the sentencing of Jesus. He did not opine that based upon the Roman law that Jesus had did anything wrong. And we know what Jesus was doing. He was bringing the gospel, the word of God, right? So we talk about that in Matthew, where it teaches you to seek ye first the kingdom. So that's the message that Jesus preached. He never preached anything else except for seeking the kingdom. So I'm reading John 19, and I have it pulled up here on my computer. But on here, it talks about how Pilate went back. I'm paraphrasing because I don't want to read to you word verbatim. So please, if you want to read it verbatim, go to John 19, and you'll be able to see the story that led up, or not the whole story of that led up to his crucifixion, but prior to his sentencing and then him being crucified. So Pilate goes to them, and he's like, look, I don't have a basis to charge this man, right? And so the priestess said that they wanted him to be crucified. The priestess meaning the Jewish priestess. So Pilate responded and said, no, you take them and crucify him, right? Like if you have an issue with him, you take him and you crucify him. And then it says that the Jewish leaders insisted that they have a law, and that according to their law, that Jesus must die because he claimed that he was the Son of God. And in their opinion, they opined that this was blasphemous, right? That there was no Son of God, that he was committing, behavior that went against their laws. So they didn't see him as a prophet. They didn't see him as the Son of God. They didn't see him as someone that came to preach the gospel and to save the people of the land. So fast forward, Pilate then goes back and he has an additional conversation with Jesus. Okay. And so when he goes back and he talks to Jesus, and I'm getting down to the point where I want to share with you, when he goes down, he was going to set Jesus free. And then the Jewish leaders kept shouting, right? If you let this man go, are you not a friend of Caesar? You are not a friend of Caesar, right? And they're essentially saying, like, if you don't crucify him, you're in opposition of Caesar. And so you don't want to be in opposition of Caesar. So then you should crucify him. So Jesus was judged, right? They sentenced him, as you know, to death, and he was flogged, crucified, etc. So the interesting thing about this is, and I'm reading from Bible Gateway. This is the NIV version, right? This is not the King James version. I read the NIV version. But it says here that it was the Jews who requested that Pilate, i.e. the Roman Empire, crucify Jesus, right? So then I would consider that to be co-conspirator, right? Like you co-conspired to crucify, or you convinced him. If this was in a court of law, right? And Jesus was the defendant and the prosecutor were the Jews and Pilate was the judge, the prosecutor, i.e. the Jews, they would have won their case, right? Therefore, the judge ruled in their favor for Jesus to be crucified. So, in going back and doing your research and looking at the historical nature of the statement that Jamie Foxx made, he is accurate in his statement. But we know that this was the cause of war for many, many years, right? Jesus' crucifixion and then the injustices against Jews, etc., right? So in that particular sect of land, there has always been war that has taken place because of the crucifixion of Jesus. So what I found to be interesting, right, was Jesus responds, right, during his crucifixion as he's on the cross, and he says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And so in that forgiveness that he is requesting, he is saying it is all forgiven because he knew the intention, the purpose of why he was sent. He knew that this was already going to occur and going to happen. So the question that I have about all of this is, why are we so concerned about the actions that took place, like actions that took place centuries ago? Why are we so concerned about something that someone else did to a man? Because he was a man, he was the son of Jesus, but he was flesh, he was a man. Why are we so concerned about that? Because I find it to be interesting that we can be in such an uproar, or not we, because I'm not, but individuals, certain individuals can be in such an uproar about Jesus' crucifixion. And this happened centuries ago. I mean, well before our ancestors were even thought of, before they even walked the land. But yet we can have so much explosive anger and speak on anti-Semitism, but nobody wants to really speak the truth about the Middle Passage in slavery. And again, I know that there are people here that are going to say, I am not a slave. I didn't come from slavery. I'm an indigenous being. This is not the space. That's not what I get into here. But all I'm saying is that this happened, 400 years ago. And then post the Middle Passage, post this transition that took place where you went and you took people from their land, you brought them to various areas, whether it be the Americas, whether it was the Caribbean, wherever they landed, they went without consent. Okay, they were taken without consent. And so I chuckle because I say, wow, we are such small-minded people. We're such small-minded people that we want to put so much emphasis on the death of Jesus when Jesus has already sought and asked for the forgiveness of the people that committed the injustice against him. And we also know that Jesus performed a miracle right after that, right? Like he died and he rose again, if that's what you believe. So me even talking about this is a huge step for me, right? Because it's something that I have been fighting with God on. Like, you know, I'm not equipped to lead a ministry of this sort. I am not equipped enough, or I don't have the credentials to come here and speak on the word in such a way. Honestly, I never even thought that I would sit here in a space and do it. But what I'm telling you is that we have to always go back to what is factual. Don't allow popular culture to dictate under any guise what you should be thinking in terms of your conscientiousness. And as a woman, when I thought about this, I said, okay, well, tell me how to relate this back to being a woman and me encouraging women to embrace their now, the changes that's happening in their life, the shifting identities, for them to be able to accept and walk into the calling of their lives and live with live and embrace not only the passionate things, the things that they're passionate about, but also to say, okay, I can be a purposeful being. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well before I get out of here. So when I asked that question about how can we relate that back to us as women embracing our now, what I got was this. There are many people in our lives that committed injustices against us as women, whether it be a former employer or even your current employer, whether it be someone that you were romantically involved with, whether it be a friend, a sister, a colleague, an associate, whether it be somebody that you don't even know, right? And they inserted themselves into a position that they had no right or power to be in. And as an emotional being, because I can accept that, there are times where my emotions are a bit rocky, right, as a woman. And so I could become a little bit unstable in terms of how I want to respond to things. And what I want to encourage you to remember in this moment at this time is that no matter what has taken place in the past, no matter what it is that you have endured, no matter what it is you think what outcome you would have preferred to see, I want you to just remember that to have forgiveness in your heart. Have forgiveness in your heart and forgive the individuals that you are of the opinion that they committed some type of injustice against you. Because when you forgive, when you are able to forgive, when you allow yourself to forgive, and when you truly mean what you say in terms of, okay, I release this stronghold, because that's basically what you're doing. When you forgive somebody, you're releasing the stronghold that it has on you. Because some of us, when we are angered by something, when we feel as if there's been an injustice, when we feel like somebody has just you playing games with me, huh? Right? When you feel that way, what you have to do is say, okay, I get to choose how I respond. And so people that sit here and they want to cancel, Jamie, I'm going to cancel him. You get to choose how you respond. And I say, don't give it any attention. So as you navigate this space of embracing the current state of you as a woman, and opening up the door, the pathway for you to walk into your newness, to walk into what you're being called into. Don't allow things from the past, your history, to control where you're going. When you get a new car, right? Let's think about it. When you get a new car and you go to the dealership, now depending upon the circumstances, we're going to use the example that you're trading in your car. If you go to the dealership and you're trading in your car and you're upgrading to your next car, right? You got a Beyonce moment, let me upgrade you going on. And I don't want to hear about y'all and y'all issues with Beyonce. It's an example, okay? So you're upgrading to a new car. When you pull off the lot, are you like, man, I'm leaving my car behind? No, you're thankful. You're grateful for the opportunity to transition into something new. That car could have been breaking down on you. You could have had 250,000 plus miles on the car. The car could have been so old that it's hard to find parts for it. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you wanted to upgrade and get rid of the car. So it is the same thing when people have committed a crime against you. You got to be able to up level in those moments. Up level in those moments and say, you know what? I refuse to embrace that. I embrace the woman that I am now today. Even if I believe that she is flawed in any way, I choose to embrace her. I choose to uplift her. I choose to forgive her. I choose to nurture her. I choose to allow her to feel in a moment, but I choose not to allow myself to get so deep in the well that I forget about the promises that were made to me. And when I say the promises, I mean the promises that were made to you by God, not the promises that man has made you. Because we know that any expectation that we have of man, we are human. It is impossible for us to achieve or to fill the gaps of every single promise or thing that we said we were going to do to somebody. Because you never know what may take place that then causes a shift. And you're unable to step into that promise. You're no longer able to, why is the word escaping me? To honor that promise. So just remember and think about that, right? Like when you see things happening around you, and you see things in pop culture, in the news, etc., always sit back and ask yourself, if I was in this position, how could I respond differently? What is it that I can do different? And don't backpedal either. So I saw that Jamie Foxx also apologized for his statement, and he backpedaled on what he said. The truth is the truth. If they did it to one, what makes you think that you're precluded from it as well? That's how the world is, right? I already talked about the whole slavery thing, how nobody wants to talk about that really. Right? Nobody wants reparations. Nobody wants anything. And listen, you get your reparations, great. Like Spike Lee said a long time ago, we still waiting on our 40 acres and a mule. We're still waiting for that. But you don't have to be in a waiting season forever, waiting on somebody else to gift you with something that you think you deserve. If you want something, you get up and you go out and you get it. By any means necessary. I'm here today on assignment, right? I show up to you because I'm on an assignment, but I also know what the vision was that I received. But in order for me to do that, I got to work for it. I got to come out here and shake and bake and make moves. I got to come in front of you all. I got to show you all who I am as an individual so that I can build trust with you. But in the end, all I'm saying to you is that just remember that there are people that are always going to attempt to change or to control a narrative. They are now controlling the narrative about what it means to be woke, which is the terminology now is so far off from the original meaning, it's actually laughable. Same thing when it comes to slavery. And I'm going to keep giving you these examples because I want you to think about it. You have individuals now that want to say that it was skills training. It was training, right? As if, they signed up for it and signed up or registered for a vocational training program to come and get skills. They didn't need to come get skills in any place that you took them. As a matter of fact, you needed their skills to cultivate and work the land because you all didn't have the knowledge to be able to know how to grow certain things and to make the area populous in such a way. So just remember that when you're talking about what you choose to embrace, you can choose to embrace the chatter, the noise like people are doing right now when it comes to Jamie Foxx and his statements, or you can choose to embrace the downloads that you've received about what you should be achieving, and that's what you should be focusing on. Not all the riffraff that's going on around you. We're now in August. We have about 5 months to go before the end of the year. And I hate doing the whole countdown thing, but I'm here to encourage you that if there's something that you were told to embrace throughout the year, something you're supposed to be releasing so that you can pull in and attract and invite that newness to you, start working on it now. Start working on it now, because we don't know what's promised to us. We don't know when our last day will be. So while everybody worried about who killed Jesus, like somebody's like, oh, who killed Tupac? Who killed Biggie? So now there's a mystery around who killed Jesus when it's in black and white. It's in black and white. I told you all, John 19. You can go read it yourself. And I'm not mad about what those people did. I'm not mad. What? Ain't not even my business. right? Ain't nobody's business. It's not even my business. It happened. It's a story. It's a fact. It's history. You take it and you learn how to apply things to yourself as you continue to grow. So just grow with that word, right? Like grow with the word, grow within yourself, and allow yourself to be a woman of purpose. Oh, and I said I was going to talk about that right quick, but I think that's a whole nother video that I'm going to do because I've probably been on here for too long already. Yeah, we're going to make that another video. I'll probably do a recorded video. But like I said, hey, I'm Jennifer of Embracing Her Now. Our goal is to be an example to women and show how I was able to overcome certain trials that were happening in my life, certain things that I thought were going to take the wind out of my lungs permanently, and how I was able to overcome. And that's why I rebranded the page recently. That's why I came to you with a new message, and I was more specific in terms of how I wanted to support other women that are not only here, but the women that I know are going to come. Change is difficult for many, right? It's very difficult, especially when it's unexpected. Shifting in your identity about who you once were, who you thought you were, who you trained yourself to be, what you studied for, what you prepared for. And when you have to let that go, it can be very difficult, again, for many. Understanding how to allow yourself to be open, to hear God guide and lead you, it could be difficult for many. Many people would like to start a small business. They don't know what to do. At least they don't think they know what to do. They know what to do. They just haven't accepted it. So these are things that I look forward to helping women with. I'm very happy about that in my coaching and my mentorship. I'm very happy in that and the workshops that I do. And this was a hard shift for me personally. It was a very hard shift because I trained myself to be fixated on the career woman, right? That's what I value. That's why I had placed my value at. Oh, I did all these things. I went to college, I got an advanced degree. I got the mortgage. I got my 2 kids. Don't have a husband, but I got this collective thing that I thought was the core of my happiness and my success. And then when the bottom fell and I didn't have those things, right? And when my education and my network and all those things were like poof, right? I was like, oh my God, like what happened? But you can overcome it because I did. And if I could overcome it, so can you. And so I'm hoping that is what I can achieve by sharing with you these stories, by giving you a different perspective about things, and then allowing you to go out and kind of just express yourselves in a way that, is in a way that will make you sit back one day and say, wow, I am her, right? Like I am her. Have that moment. I encourage you to have that moment. It's the best feeling ever. So in the end, Jamie Foxx, canceled, not canceled, I really don't care. All I want you to do is take actionable steps towards forgiving things in your past so that you can move forward with a lightness in your heart and embrace your future. Embrace that woman and not the woman from the past. Forgive the people that did things to you previously, right? Because you don't know if you could be blocking a blessing because you're holding so much hatred and unforgiveness in your heart. That is my time. That is me. Y'all listen, congratulations to you. Okay, that's all I can say is congratulations. You're doing an amazing job, and focus on the right things. And don't allow yourself to fall into a pit of things that do not matter. If you need me, hey, just shoot me a DM, send me a message on, and I'm out of here. Peace.